My way, or the highway, and in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
What's going on, everyone? Ryan Anderson, Jackson Muniz, Mikey P with the Gallop Out crew back with you for another week. Jackson, we'll check in with you first out in New York. How's the season been so far? What do you have coming up this weekend? And how's the house?
House is great, man. Life is good. We got a nice 4-day week of racing coming up, and it's supposed to be beautiful weather all 4 days. So, I brought the California weather with me this week. It's going to be great.
I love it. Mikey P in the money. How you doing? How's it going?
Glad to be here, preparing for my harness weekend. I know nobody cares, but I do.
Hey, we can care. Home team has done pretty well over the past, 8 months. So, I'm gonna play some harness this weekend if Mikey sends what he likes out here. Be sure to check him out on the Meadows. Jackson Talking Horses Saturday, 8:05 a.m. Pacific time, 11:05 Eastern. 11.
Yeah, sounds right.
All right. Well, he's
probably
on the show,
but,
not me. He should probably know that one, but at least he has the picks down. He just kind of shows up everywhere else. But out on the West Coast, we just opened up Del Mar this past weekend. Weekend 2, we have the traditional feature, the grade 1 being Crosby, and with it, a very competitive late pick 5 that we're going to go through. I'm sorry we don't have post positions and morning lines. I'm working on it. Maybe I can take that over and we can get those out ASAP. I'm sure Jackson would have my back on that one. But without further ado, Jackson, I'll stick it with you. We're going a mile for the state breds, optional 20, non-winners one other than on the grass. How'd you see this one to kick off the late sequence?
Yeah, this is another tough. We talked about the Thursday pick 6 yesterday, and now we're talking about Saturday's late pick 5, and it seems more approachable than that sequence was, but it's still not easy. I think we have 5 races that are all pretty wide open, pretty competitive. The horse I went towards as far as the top pick goes would be the number 6, Stylishly Acclaimed for Carla Gaines. This is a horse that, 6-year-old only runs 6 times, so it kind of shows up by appointment only. But 2 of his 3 races this year were good. Obviously, he got the win down the hill. Something happened 2 back where he just was never near the lead and ran terribly. The last time it was a pretty strong effort down at Santa Anita, going 9 furlongs. He was pressing a really fast pace. That race was completely dominated by closers, and I thought he ran well in that spot to finish 3rd. The concern for him in here is that all of his better races, for the most part, have been when he's been able to be up front and kind of control things. And there is a lot of other speed in this race. He has won from slightly off before, but it was July 2024. So it's been a while since we've seen him do this. Obviously we're doing this before morning lines. I don't know what kind of price is going to be. I would guess around like 4 to 1 ish. I think I'd probably be okay with that. But if he's lower, I would probably look a little bit elsewhere.
Yeah, I certainly gave Stylishly Acclaimed a look. Wasn't my top pick in here, but did have him as a use for those horizontals. Mikey, over to you. Leg number 1 of this pick 5. What were your thoughts here?
I think it's a lot of speed in the race, honestly, and there's a lot of horses that want things their own way for sure. So I wanted horses from off the pace. I went to the outside here of entry Strand. This horse I do think will be off the pace here. Tried to stake last time in the Snow Chief and really didn't disgrace. Came flying at a mile and 1/8. Now you get a little bit of shortening up a distance. Now this horse really hasn't had a number fast enough to beat these, but it's a 3-year-old that could be improving into this race, has the back numbers that maybe suggest that I do think a move forward is coming. And I like the post. I like the style here. I like the win over the racetrack. There's just a lot of things for me that fit in a race that I do think is filled with horses that want to be up close, but don't necessarily want to finish the race off. So I would be heavy on the 9.
Yeah, Ventry Strand's maiden performance here last summer at Del Mar, I guess early in last fall, was eye-catching to say the least. To get that job done, going 5 furlongs from dead last, essentially, or second to last. He's continued that run style, whether it's sprinting, whether it's routing. He's always going to be far back, but I'm with you. He does have he should get a favorable setup in here, where I do think there is, at the very least, a modest pace. I would anticipate it being maybe toward the quicker side. So Ventry Strand certainly one to look at. But you have horses that I think are probably going to be amongst your favorites in Double Jab with Ayuso aboard, and down to the inside, maybe Known Idea. There's another one I forgot. Nope, that was it. It was those two. I would anticipate Double Jab
The
probably
7
be,
too.
Oh, the 7.
Naftis.
I think it is Naftis.
Man,
Yeah, that one's probably going to be.
I think the 3 will take more money than the 7, though.
I do too. But anyway, my top pick, I landed on Aliquin Summer in this spot. I felt like beating opens last time. That's obviously a huge plus. Now dropping back into state bred. This is the lowest level of state bred competition that he will have faced to this point. He's a 3-year-old facing some olders, but we're midsummer now, so that's not a huge concern to me. The 2 route efforts as of late with Hector Barrios aboard have been really strong, so certainly want to give this one a strong look. I'd probably use Aliquin Summer, Bevo Brox, who is right here, just because, again, pace scenario wise, I do think it's going to favor him as well. As I would anticipate things heating up on the front end. Jackson, before we move on to the next leg, did you also see the pace in a similar fashion?
Yeah, look, it's got to be hot. You have Known Idea in here who's going to go forward. You have Aliquin Summer who's been up close as well. Stylishly claimed, obviously, the 7 Naftis. I mean, you got a lot of Double Jab on the outside as a sprinter with speed. This pace kind of has to be fast, which Mike, you mentioned the 10 in here, Ventry Stand, but I don't think Cardiff Crag is necessarily completely impossible in this spot either. Second start off the bench. That last race going 6.5, he had 0 pace to chase, and he did well, I thought, to split the field. And he's a horse that likes to settle for a lot of minor awards, but I don't know. I wasn't necessarily in love with any of these off the pace types. I think they're all kind of just okay. You could do a lot worse than this horse at a giant number, especially if you're playing something like the Turf Pick 3, where he'll play way, way higher than whatever he's going to go off on the board here.
Yeah, I agree. Turf Pick 3 does start here with race number 7. 11 races this Saturday. So buckle up. Going to be a good long day. That's going to wrap up race number 7. Race number 8 is an allowance race in name only. This should probably be a listed stakes race with the level of competition in here. Mikey, I'll go to you first. Are you going with one of the out-of-town shippers, like Mo Running Down on the Rail, or how did you see this race?
I like a horse in here, and it's March of Time. I think you look at the pedigree, the brother was so this one half to Bodemeister, who was actually one of my favorite horses. Limited starts, but very, very speedy, and we know how he was on that Triple Crown Trail when he was there. And this horse just hasn't been able to stay healthy. Whenever he does stay healthy, when he's in the gate, he races well. Now, I thought that 5.5 race last time on June the 28th was sort of a prep, and he raced well. He came from off the pace to win. Now he's 3-5 in that spot. He's supposed to win there, but I like the stretch out here. I like the fact that he's getting back to work quickly. So that tells me that he's healthy. Watch his recent workouts too. I mean, he is working really well with top-notch Baffert types. I'm very curious to see if there's improvement here. I like this inside post. I think that he's capable of taking to them early. I like him a lot in here, and he would be a heavy lean for me in this pick 5.
Yeah, I certainly am going to use March of Time as well. I'm going to use him and one other in here. Just a note on the works. Obviously, the most recent on July the 18th being the strongest. He worked with Nevada Beach that day. I thought Nevada Beach definitely went a little bit the better, but
I can't wait till he comes back. He looks awesome. He looked awesome in that work.
He did a lot of growing up. That guy is huge. I mean, so I don't necessarily look at it as a negative, because March of Time didn't get outworked by all that much, and it does look like Nevada Beach is going to be a problem whenever he comes back to the races this summer, because he looks like a massive colt. But
wasn't he supposed to run last week in the San Diego? What happened with that?
I don't know.
I don't know, but wherever he shows up, I want him next time.
Yeah.
I mean, just off that, he looked really good to me.
Yeah.
Well, he's got to go
I'm
east
not
because he's not going to run the Pacific Classic.
Probably not.
And there's nothing else out here for him.
He's probably going to go out east then. Who knows? Guess we'll
Yeah.
find out. But either way, yeah, March of Time been working really well in here. Has outworked, at least to my eye, all the other previous workmates, which were all, good allowance horses in the Baffert camp, and then, ran into Nevada Beach as the workmate last time, but certainly held his own. So that's one of the ones I want to use in here. The other one is Indispensable, who I think comes back in here now fresh after a pretty heavy campaign last time. He lost to horses like Nisos, Nevada Beach, we just mentioned, Tumba Rumba, Fierceness. You're facing a lot tougher than what you're ultimately going to meet in here. The question is, this horse that ran arguably his worst race, and certainly his worst race on the dirt, first off the bench last time when starting the new season. He wasn't off for all that, first race when coming off the bench last year at Santa Anita. That's maybe the one cause for pause, as he certainly jumped into form in that second start off the layoff. But I did feel like this is the kind of off the pace type that I'd want in here, that I would trust maybe a little bit more than I do March of Time, who's routing for the first time in just, I believe, his 5th career start. Jackson, I'll go out to you. How'd you see this race?
I saw it very similar to the race prior in that I think there's a lot of speed in here. You have horses like Mo Running, who are going to be up front. Bart Holdy's stretch out sprinter with speed. March of Time, stretch out sprinter with speed. Midnight Mammoth likes to be close. The Last Straw, another stretch out sprinter. I can go on and on and on to Midway Lane and Firmus, all horses that like to be up front. I went to one of the out-of-town shippers, Frosty Indulgence, in this spot. Just a horse that probably needs to get a little bit faster. But I think if this horse runs well, it's probably because this pace really collapses anyways. So it doesn't really bother me that he might be a tad slow on the speed figures. In his last couple of races, it wasn't like he got any kind of setup in either of those two. And I thought he ran well in each of those races at Churchill, and especially the 1-2 back at Keeneland against a pretty good field. That pace was slow. He was the only one who made any kind of move out the back, and I thought he ran well in that spot. So if that version of him shows up, I think he'll come with his run. And he's run fine around the 2 turns. He's got a win against lesser, but he does have a win going the 2 turns. So I'll hope for the best for him. He'll be a price in here and hope this thing collapses.
Do you think he's a little cheap, though, Jackson? I mean, to beat these horses, I mean, he's really going to have to step up, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely a class test, no doubt about it. But the speed figures he's been running his last 2 aren't that far off. I know the 84 is slow. The 91 puts him in the mix. And the time form numbers, he's kind of right there with everyone else. And again, the scenario where he runs well is because the thing kind of falls apart. So it doesn't bother me as much that he's maybe a little bit slow.
Yeah, I think that's a good point towards the end, is that, he does need to take a step up. But I think the way he wins is if this thing completely falls apart, which I don't know is impossible in a situation like this. Mikey, any thoughts before we move on to the first of 2 stakes we're going to cover on this late pick 5?
No, the only other horse I'd use maybe as a backup would be Midnight Mammoth, because I just think he's capable of kind of freak efforts, especially around this racetrack. So that would be one that I probably would want to back up with. And I know he likes to be forward, but if he gets the right trip, I do think that he's capable of, maybe running that 99 that would ultimately win this race. So that's just the only other horse I'd back up with, but I'm pretty heavy on the 3. I'm hoping that he can kind of, maybe make good on some of that talent, some of that blood.
I like it. The people in the Baffert barn that have worked him used to say that he reminded them of his dad, Justify. So hopefully he can live up to that kind of talent, because saying something like that, you're almost asking to be disappointed. But that is race number 8. Race number 9, it's a listed stake. It's the Daisy Cutter, going 5 furlongs on the grass for 3-year-olds and upward, the fillies and the mares. Saratoga Special down on the rail, who had a really strong stateside debut when losing to Gratefully by just a head. Mikey, back to you. How'd you see this race?
Again, there was, that Tahini race. A lot of horses come out of that race back in this spot, and that was basically a boat race. I mean, Tahini got the front and just dominated, and it really wasn't expected necessarily that this horse quits every time, and not that time. I mean, she really kicked in late and just basically dusted that field. I'm going to take a horse coming out of that race, and that's the outside horse, Kawaiya. I guess the horse's name is Kawaiya. I don't know how to say it, but that one really had no chance the way the race shaped. Ended up closing up a little bit late there to be 3rd. Now you get Barrios here. Again, you get another, I think, favorable scenario as far as there's going to be more speed in here. I don't think that Tahini's going to have it all her own way now, but I do think you could spread in here. Like, I don't mind that one. I think the 2, Bit Tiger's Magic, that horse is the speed of the speed. She is ultra quick early, and if she does get away, I think she's the one that could wire these horses. But also, there's others that want to be up with her. So I would play many different scenarios here. Even Princess Moche is another horse that we've liked in the past. Gets a little bit of a cutback. Has won over this racetrack again. I love that angle. I love horses that can win down here. So that one's probably going to be maybe just in that stalking kind of spot. So I could see a few different scenarios here. Yeah,
I can certainly see this race going a number of different directions. Jackson, your thoughts on the 5 furlong Daisy Cutter?
Really, really difficult race. I'm going to go to a horse that Mikey didn't mention in the 7, Lee's Baby Girl. Just one that probably is a tad too slow on speed figures, but I think she's going to get herself into the right spot in this race, because you have the horses drawn inside of her, Tahini and Bits Tiger Magic. Those are the 2 main speeds, and she has enough speed to get herself probably right behind those 2. And if they kind of get in each other's way up front, I think she'll be in position to get first jump on these deeper closers. She absolutely needs to get faster based on her last 2 races, but she's kind of paired up those Spire tops first time as a 4-year-old. Maybe there's a move forward for her in this spot. So I'd be on her near. I would imagine she's going to be some kind of price, but I would also be using the 2, as Mikey said, Bits Tiger Magic. She does seem like the speed of the speed. And then I don't know what you do with Saratoga Special, because that first race with Baltus was really, really good. Came up a fast number. She ran well in there. Didn't run nearly as well at Keeneland. And then the Churchill race, yeah, you can say it was too far, but it wasn't like she ran great in there either. So I don't know. I mean, if she runs back that race in February, she's way the horse to beat, but I just don't trust her. And it seems like she's probably going to be, I mean, she's got to be favored in here, no? I would think.
Most likely. I guess I'll start with Saratoga Special. She's one of the 2 that I went with in here. You brought up a lot of points on Lee's Baby Girl, who I'm also going to use in here. I've only notes on her. Actually, I guess I'll go to her first. I think she likes it at 5 furlongs, and especially over this course. She proved last year. She's big, but I thought Kazushi has ridden her really well in each of her last 2, and I'm with you. I think she's going to kind of get that good spot in here, and it's just going to be she's going to get first jump on all the deeper closers. Just going to kind of have to see if she can hold them off, because she does have to get faster, to your point, but I do think she's going to be set up to get the best trip out of all of them. But Saratoga Special, in my opinion, I disagree with you on the Churchill race. I felt like she kind of ran her race. She's just not a router. I think she much prefers going the 1 turn. I thought she was overmatched last time, or 2 back in the Giants Causeway, where she was drawn post 11 of 11. Hector Barrios, who doesn't ride at Keeneland all that much, to be fair, kind of just had one way to go and just kind of pressed the pace towards the outside, and in our time came up the rail, and that was a great ride by Pratt that day to get the job done. So I felt like that was a reasonable excuse. Yeah, she backed up pretty badly in there, but clearly nothing went wrong, and she came back less than a month later to run at Churchill. So I felt like she just maybe hasn't been in the best spots, but she's been running 5 furlongs overseas. That was kind of her game. She came out here, she sprinted at Santa Anita going 6, and I could see how that would translate well with it being such a firmer turf course out west. I feel like the 5 furlongs at Del Mar is going to be her game. She ran into some good fillies and mares overseas, like Star of Memas, and there's another one back there. Oh, Bucanero Fuerte, who's in some good form at one point in her career. So for me, for me, Saratoga Special, backing off the layoff, you get Joel Rosario. I feel like this horse is going to sit in a good spot, and I'm going to rely on that form from the Wishing Well to maybe come back in here. I do think she'll be favored, but I don't know that she'll be a heavy favorite.
Do you really want to take a short price on her, though? Because, I mean, honestly, yeah, if you look back at the February, it's great. But since then, and then, they dropped, they had Lasix, they go a mile. I mean, they were sort of reaching there, and then she didn't race very well there. And now they're back in this spot here. I just think this is a bad time. And really to take Rosario here on the rail, I don't think she's quick enough to get the front. So do you think she's going to get a trip and you're going to have to swallow 2-1? I don't want anything to do with this horse, honestly. She could beat me. She could beat me all day from this spot.
That's totally fair. I think in the turf pick 3, I would probably leave this horse off because I don't think that's going to be a horse that you want. In horizontals in the pick 5, I'm going to use her. I do think that she'd be a valid favorite. And while I'm not going to, run to the windows at 2-1 or 9-5, I do think she does have the talent to get the job done. I have liked her since she's come over. Princessa Moche and Amarita for me. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts here, but they both look like similar horses to me in that they both kind of have that muddied up form, and neither have really gotten a fair crack at the 5 furlongs over this turf course.
I would use them both. Honestly, I don't mind either one. I think the Amarita probably more is a B, but it's Mandela.
Mm-hmm.
This could get a stalking type trip, especially going. I mean, it has been forward down the hill, but I think that could equate to more of a stalking type trip here. I thought she was against it in that Wishing Well there. Saratoga Special was better than she was, but I don't know. I like her much better than the favorite here.
I like it. Jackson, any thoughts before we move on to our feature?
Yeah, she can win. I don't really want to talk anyone off of any kind of price in this race, and she seems like she'll be a fair price at least.
All right, on to race number 10. It's the Grade 1 Bing Crosby. Mikey, no, Jackson, sorry. Jackson, your turn to go. Where'd you end up in here? 6 furlongs for the Grade 1 boys. You got a good field in here. Obviously, I'm going with the home team with Listen Up Chance in this one, but how'd you see it?
I don't know. I really struggled with this race. Partially one because it's completely wide open and you have a lot of horses running the same numbers, but mostly because they all kind of have the same style too. Like a lot of them do their best work when they're up on the lead, and I just don't really know who's the quickest of the quick in here. We can make the case that Listen Up Chance is the horse to beat, given who he just lost to up at Saratoga and given the trip he had in that race. But he got the inside post again with post 2, and there's a lot of speed in this race too. So I don't know what kind of trip he's going to get. I think I might take a little stab with Dr. Venkman. And I know he was dreadful last time at Churchill, but he hadn't run in a long time. He's back at his favorite racetrack. And I just think when I look at this field, he's the horse I trust the most to make his run from off the pace if the pace really heats up. A lot of the horses in here, like Stronghold, are fine, but usually when he's closing, it's in these smaller fields. Cornucopian, I think, is at his absolute best when he's up front as well. And Dr. Franklin, I think, has some back. He definitely has some back class to run back to him. He just has to go back to that race in the Breeders' Cup. But that race makes him way the horse to beat in here against a good field. So I'm going to try him in here. It feels like the time to get him off of that poor effort at Churchill. He'll be a big price. He'll get pace. We'll see if he can still run at age 6.
Yeah, I don't hate Dr. Venkman. My biggest, I guess, con against him is that even though he loves this racetrack, he's 0 for 2 at it at 6 furlongs. I feel like it's just not long enough for him with his run style. I feel like the 7 furlongs, like in that Pat O'Brien last summer, is kind of where he's in his wheelhouse. And given that was a softer pace and maybe not the strongest group, and although Stronghold did finish second in there, I always felt like 7 furlongs.
You're holding his 6 furlong Breeders' Cup sprint against him when he was 3rd to Ben Tornado and Imagination?
No, but
you ran a 105?
Yeah, but the Breeders' Cup speed figures always come back pretty fast, and it's very rare to see a horse duplicate those.
I don't think he has to duplicate that.
Well, no, I'm not saying that he does, but a lot of horses, Ben Tornado won the Breeders' Cup sprint. He didn't come back to repeat that number. Like those numbers typically.
I'm just saying, holding that against him is crazy.
I'm not necessarily holding it against him. I'm just saying longer is better. I think if he turned up in the Pat O'Brien, it's the same thought I have with Stronghold, that they'd be a lot better in there with the extra furlong, because I think here at Del Mar, speed just holds a little better going 6 than it does going 7.
Well, that's fine. That's fair.
Okay. Mikey, out to you. Your thoughts on the Grade 1 Bing Crosby.
I would take Cornucopian on top. I think he's the best 6 furlong horse of this group. And if you look at his 6 furlong races, I think that's what he wants to do. First time out, he crushed. I mean, got a 101 buyer. I know that was a maiden special there, but I mean, that's a huge figure for that horse in that spot, and beat Zero Sugar. Zero Sugar's a really nice horse also. And then they tried the Triple Crown Trail. It's not what he wanted to do. And since he's been back sprinting, he's been exceptional, really. He shipped to Churchill there back in May, and he was 3 to 5, but Roland Big Joe's a really nice horse, and Gold Sweep's back in here also. So I thought that was fine. And I do think that at 6 furlongs, he is the best horse versus these horses who, Yeah, I mean, some of the other horses, like you mentioned, Dr. Venkman, he's capable at 6, but is that truly what he wants to do? I don't know. I'm not sure. I do think that this is what Cornucopian wants to do. So it's a grade 1. I do think he will show very well for himself in here. But I don't mind your horse also, Ryan. Listen up, Chance. This horse is getting better for sure. It was a really good, nice race last time. Bookham Dano or Bentonado would probably be favored in here. So we'll see. I mean, if he can duplicate that, he's 2 for 2 over this racetrack. He would be a must use for me on every ticket.
Yeah, for me, Listen Up Chance is the single. Cornucopian, I agree that he likes going 6. I just felt like his wins and his runs are always coming with pretty clean trips. Last time out in the Aristides, he was kind of just sitting off of Madhouse the entire way and then just kind of got, the trip. He never really faced much adversity. Same, I believe, in the grade 3 San Carlos. And then the optional claiming event, he came through a rail that was so wide open, the 3 of us in semi-trucks could have driven through it. So I get him. I do think 6 furlongs is certainly Cornucopian's game, and Listen Up Chance is going to have to probably catch him and beat him on the square. But I feel like Listen Up Chance is getting really good. And he finished 3rd by less than a length last time out to the 2 best sprint horses in the country, despite breaking slow and having the inside that day. I mean, he fights, and he does have to take a little bit of step up and prove that he can really, I know he can hang with the big guys, but he's got to prove that he can beat them. And I think this is the race he does it. He's back on his home track. He's doing better than he ever has been. For me, I love Listen Up Chance here. Obviously, a little bit of bias in there too, but just off of who he faced last time.
What price do you get, and what price do you want is my question.
I feel like you're going to get at least 5 to 2. It's a great betting race. I think Cornucopian's going to be the favorite. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Jackson.
No, you're right.
Okay. I was going to say, I'm hoping not lower than 5 to 2. I don't know how much these Run Fast Racing guys are going to bet on this horse or Great Friend Stable. But outside of that concern, I wouldn't want lower than 5 to 2. I could see a situation where Listen Up Chance is 7 to 2, but I don't think
you're going to get. He's 5 to 2. Then what's the price on the 1?
Yeah, I wanted to ask about him. That was my question.
I'm not sure what you do with this horse.
He's going to be bad. I can tell you that.
Yeah, he's going to be bet. I just don't know what price he's going to be. Jackson, I mean, I'm open to your guys' opinions. I didn't think he was going to get bet crazy, but I do think he's going to get bet a bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be right up there, I would think, with Listen Up Chance and Cornucopian. I mean, those 2 speed figures are going to jump off the page at anyone that's looking at this race. He gets bet every time he runs. He wins a lot of races. The one time he lost was recently was to Bilt, and Bilt's going to be the big favorite on the Vanderbilt on Saturday. So this is a really serious horse as well. I just hate the rail for him in this spot because I don't think he's as quick as some of these other horses to his outside.
You're right.
He's going to have to win from a trip that he hasn't proven he's capable of doing against this caliber of horse. I'm not saying he can't do it. I won't be surprised at all if he wins. I just don't know if I want to gamble on him at a short price if he's 3 to 1 or so. If he drifts up to 5 to 1, then sure, I'll take a swing on him. I just find that unlikely.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think he'd be in the neighborhood of 5 to 1. I think maybe 4 is a. It's tough. I do think Cornucopian's the favorite. I think second choice is a complete toss-up. I think it could go to Stronghold, it could go to Listen Up Chance, it could go to Venkman, or it could go to Maximum Bourbon down on the rail. Mikey, any other horses you would use in your pick 5, or just Chance and Cornucopian?
Probably just those 2, but I mean, I could see others winning. I understand Jackson's case on his horse. Stronghold's a nice horse. I think 6 furlongs might be a little short for him. I'd be curious to see how he runs in this race. So it'd probably be heavy, those 2.
Yeah, I like it. I wonder
if race.
Yeah, it is
a really
fun race.
We didn't talk about this. Is always like one of my top. No, I'm just gonna say this is always my top 2 or 3 favorite races of the entire summer, and this year came up really strong.
It really did. A couple years ago was one of the better runnings when Chosen Ron and Raging Torrent threw it down. Threw it down in there, so that was always that was entertaining. That's the one that.
And then Lovesick Blues last year. You got to have
Lovesick Blues. Hey, you got to learn West Coast racing.
He'd be in this race. I was waiting for him.
Yeah. Hey, maybe in the Pat O'Brien going 7. Oh, what'd you say, Jackson?
I think he's out to the fall. They said too much cross world shipping or whatever.
He owes me zero money for the rest of his racing career. Stronghold, we didn't talk much about. Feel like we should at least mention him a little bit. He's only finished out of the exacta twice in his career, and that was in the Kentucky Derby and the Pegasus World Cup, going 2 distances. I think it's clear he doesn't really want to go. Look, I would expect him to show up in here. I share the same opinion as Mikey, where I thought 6 furlongs was maybe a little too sharp for him. Race number 11, mile and a 16th on the grass, optional claiming, non-winners of one other than fillies and mares 3-year-olds and upward. On the grass to end the turf pick 3, to end the pick 6, to end all sequences, and of course the late pick 5 that we're talking about. Mikey, I'll go to you. What did you think here in the last race?
So with all the races we've had that have been extremely contentious, I don't, especially on the front, I think that this race doesn't really have much speed in it. So I went to the 6 Sweet Gal of mine. It's a little bit of a stretch out here, and it wants to be forward. Now, the horse that this horse lost to last time comes back on Thursday, and I like that horse. So keep an eye on that. If that horse is a dud on Thursday, I might change my mind in this race. But you get Maldonado here and a horse stretching out in a race. I know this horse is 1 for 13, but I do think that she has possibilities to control it. I liked the race last time. She's third back. Too many angles for me in a race that I think everybody sort of wants that same trip, but most of them want to be from off the pace this time. So I think that this one plays pretty well, especially if Maldonado can get to the front, control the race, and then hopefully finish up like she did last time. She wasn't getting tired. She just got past late. She was 20-1. I think she'd be a fair enough price in here, so I do like her.
Yeah, I think while she is 1 for 13, to your point, I do think trying something new is worth a shot. She's 0 for 0 trying 2 turns on the turf, so I do think that she's worth giving a shot to in here if you like her. She is going to be forward with Edwin Maldonado aboard. Jackson, what are your thoughts? And before you give yours, I did write down one banner because I think I know who you're going with. We obviously didn't get picks before this, but Mikey mentioned the lack of speed. Who are you going with in the last at Del Mar?
Well, to Mikey's point, I think that's what makes this race so difficult. Is I kind of found the most interesting horses in this race to be 1-run closers, and there isn't a whole lot of speed in here. So it's a race I want to be very careful about betting and watch the tote board. I thought the most interesting horse was the 3 Lady in Paris, who, if I recall correctly, like she was a big favorite on the morning line and then didn't really take any kind of money in there. And Resolve got a much better trip than she did. Resolve was the big ended up going off as the favorite. Resolve got the first jump. She got in the clear, had all the momentum. Lady in Paris was waiting behind horses and had to try to catch up to her late. And I thought she ran perfectly fine to lose by a head to a rival that I think is better than anyone she's going to be facing in this spot. I think she'll move forward off of that race. I just don't know how much pace she's going to get in front of her. So that's obviously the big concern because it doesn't seem like she has a whole lot of speed. I would use Mikey's horse as well. And I would take another card who just seems to find herself in races over and over and over and over again with no speed whatsoever. And here's another race that doesn't have much speed, but at least she is kind of capable of being close-ish at times. So I would use her too. This is as Mikey said, this is a tough race.
Yeah, it is a very tough race to end the day. Real quick, I did mention that I wrote down a pick. I thought you were going to go with America's Mark because the horse looks like he's going to be lone speed, and I know you love a speed of the speed. This is certainly one of the ones I would want to use on my tickets.
It's a big class test.
It is a huge class test. You got to face open for the first time. A lot of questions to answer, but I thought that her strongest race was the route game at Santa Anita in state bred optional 50s, but she got to the front with Hector that day and really never looked back. Now, admittedly, it's much easier to go wire to wire at Santa Anita than it is at Del Mar. But I do like that the blink. Go ahead.
She was also 1-20 in there.
She was also 1-20 for sure. She absolutely should have won that race. It was a 4-horse field. That being said, she got the job done the way she should have that day. And she hasn't had the route game since then. She had a good race. I felt on May the 23rd of this year. And again, that was against state breds. Big test here. Not denying that, but I do think you're going to get a square enough price on her with the blinkers on. So I want to give her a shot. Hector's going to go to the lead. We're going to see how far that gets her with the blinkers on. Maybe that just helps her finish it off a little bit better. The other one I wanted to talk about, in addition to Lady in Paris, was Betty Davis eyes for Neil Drysdale. I thought it was interesting that Juan Hernandez hopped aboard for the first time in the States, and top rider, he's going to have his choice of calls in there, and he hopped on her. She took no money. She was 14-1 there in the 9-horse field, and she closed towards the end. So to essentially split that group, felt like she's had a little bit of time. You get Joel Rosario, a couple fitness type of works going in, low percentage connection. So I think you're going to get a much better price on here, but I thought she had every right to step up. Second time in the States now, stretching out to the 2 turns where she did break her maiden. Well, she broke her maiden going long. It wasn't 2 turns, but she broke her maiden going long overseas in Great Britain. So one I wanted to also include in here. And then, Jackson mentioned Lady in Paris, where, I think Freysu, you really hit all the points on the head. Resolve kind of got the better trip in there, got the jump. But I do think Lady in Paris can improve now second off.
Ryan, with that Betty Davis eyes, I'm not sure if you, I'm sure you did see it, but it just seemed like that he was on her for a long way out. Even on the turn there, he was getting after her to try to get her going, and it just took forever to get her going. And then, she leveled out when the straightaway came, and maybe she just needs a little bit of a grow up. But I'm concerned with Rosario that she's going to be in no man's land here, especially going through turns. We'll see. But if she's way out the back, I don't really trust her. So that was ultimately why I said no to that.
Those are all valid concerns for sure. I do think with Betty Davis eyes being a bit of a bicycle horse last time, hoping that was maybe just in need of some education about going around turns, and to start going down the hill. That's certainly a kind of unique configuration when, she's been running overseas. So we'll see. I do think you're going to get easily like 12-1 probably on this horse, probably a lot higher than that. So that's worth a shot, worth including in those horizontals for me. So I'll use all of those 3 that I mentioned in America's Mark, Betty Davis eyes and Lady in Paris. Jackson, any others to mention as you and Noah are going, having a nice back and forth in our chat?
I'm not going to use, but the one I thought was another interesting horse who took a lot of money in her stateside debut and didn't run a step into a slow pace, but she's got to get better than that, obviously. I just thought it was noteworthy she took that much money.
It is interesting. You also get Leparoux on board for that one, second time in the States. Mikey, any closing thoughts on this late pick 5 sequence for Saturday, being Crosby Day?
I like it better than the Thursday one that we talked about. This is my kind of races here. Like, you get the graded stakes, you get a couple turf races, you have some wide open. This is going to pay if you can get it right. It's just a matter of kind of figuring it out. But I do think there's some places you can shrink down. This is one that I am interested in playing. So I do think this is a good sequence.
I agree. It's a good sequence. I feel like it is more approachable than the Thursday pick 6 sequence that the 3 of us talked about yesterday, because that thing is a headache top to bottom in just about every race. Jackson, before we get up out of here, what do you have for contests out at Saratoga this weekend?
Yeah, it's going to look very similar to last week's schedule. Could have contests Thursday through Sunday. Saturday will be the biggest day, obviously. Going to be seating that one with $2,500 again. And I promise the weather is supposed to be much, much better than it was last Saturday. It's supposed to be like 80 and sunny all week. So it's going to be great. Great card. Really, really difficult on Saturday. So that'll be a fun one. And we also have our feeders are starting up for the Jim Dandy contest, the $1,000 Jim Dandy next Saturday. So those are going to be, feeders are going to be on Saturday and Sunday. Feeders are also on horse tourneys. And the Jim Dandy one is going to be seated with a BCBC seat. So definitely you want to get involved with, and hopefully that card comes up pretty strong as well.
I'm sure it will. NairoBets.com/contests to sign up for those, get involved on the contest scene. Now that Jackson's running the show out there from a contest front, you're sure to get a lot of improved. It already has. Chris Couples texted us the other day. His only complaint about the NairoBets contest is that now they're harder to win. Since you took over.
Where is Chris? I haven't heard from him in a couple of days.
I don't know. He's been busy.
Earlier. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess he's been busy. Maybe he's going swimming in that pool. But either way, for Jackson, for Mikey, I'm Ryan. Thank you guys for watching this episode of the Gallop Out. We will see you for the next one.